There are many lines that stand out. They stand out because they're spoken with passion and they're spoken eloquently and they're spoken with intent to be able to capture people's understanding and their imagination. And then there are lines that speak to our souls, and because they are able to effectively capture and reveal what is hidden. And the line that I'm thinking about is the ones that is in the Holocaust Museum by Gideon Frieder about the man that was created alone to teach you that whoever kills one life kills the world entire, and whoever saves one life saves the world entire. And if I remember correctly, it's paraphrasing of Talmud. And the reason that this phrase sticks out is because it reveals that the value of human life cannot be interchangeable or cannot be put on measuring scale, and that in one life there is a precious and priceless existence that if once snuffed out it cannot be recovered, because each one of us is a gift. Yet this understanding, this knowledge doesn't stop the world in going in its dark direction and casting its violence against one another. And when I was thinking about this saying, I kept thinking about two simple things. I was thinking about the war, the war of South Africa and Namibia, or it was called South African border conflict or border war, right? And it was fought during the 80s and finished in the early 90s, right by and during the collapse of the South African apartheid. And so here's the fascination that I have with it. A lot of people forget about why this is important, but there are and there were other countries that were facilitating apartheidic South Africa in their war against Namibia, neighboring country. Um, and who were those people who were supplying the weapons and munition and all of the things to apartheid, which was the racist government of South Africa? Well, the countries that were doing it were Belgium. The countries that were doing were France. The countries that were doing it was Israel. The countries that were doing it was United Kingdom, Australia, and United States. And who were these people fighting? Who were this racist apartheid fighting against? Well, they were fighting against a neighboring country, and that neighboring country in it of itself was represented and was supported by one very, very insignificant power in a global scale, Cuba. Humanity is a particular thing where it becomes very, very difficult for us to challenge ourselves and not look in a mirror and say, those powerful countries supported a racist government to kill Africans, whereas this country, Cuba, which was definitively not a powerful country, was willing to send 32,000 of its own soldiers to fight in defense and in idea of protection against the apartheid. Now, that is not to say that I'm saying that Cuban government is good. That is not that I'm saying that Cuban government is justified. But in this one action, Cuban government has demonstrated throughout the years its willingness to put its soldiers and its life in order to protect something that is greater, which is human life, which those other larger nations have unfortunately left, and quite the opposite, supported the apartheid government to be able to be more effective in selling them weapons and munition. And the second thing that I was thinking about the two horrible genocides of the last 20, no, well, actually last 2 decades, the Rwandan genocide and the Serbian genocide, or rather Bosnian genocide. And here's what jumps at me. What jumps at me, not the harsh reality that in no instance a genocide should be permitted, certainly not. Not that those who have committed horrible acts should be held accountable, but rather a divided and misguided attempt to help those who have suffered such acts. And I'm not talking about the casualty numbers of one versus the other, but rather the international community's desire to assist and to help. I don't know if it would be of any surprise, but the assistance from international community towards helping Bosnia and Herzegovina was greater than probably the totality of aid that has gone into the continent of Africa. And that resonates, and that shows how ugly and how horrific and how selective we are in our choices of who we are going to be helping. And it is not an attempt to say that people in Bosnia and Herzegovina did not deserve that support and that aid. Of course they did. But if that's true, and it is true, then what about those people in Africa who were subjected to it? And frankly, I don't remember any of those countries that I named apologizing to Namibia for supporting their enemy in murdering them. And clearly that probably would never happen. Those two things just keep circling and running in my mind. And for some reason, I just can't find a way to understand. Why is it so difficult to understand what Gideon was saying? You know, whoever saves one life saves the world entire. We have 7 billion opportunities to save the entire world. Instead, we are choosing to murder it.